Okay, this is lesson 92, complete the square. We've done this before again, but we're going to do more advanced ones now where you have to do a little bit more work. This is going to set you up for geometry next year. You have to be really good at this for next year because you're going to be working on advanced topics with this concept, and in Algebra 2, of course. So if you get it done now, then you won't have to worry about it until later, or you won't have to worry about it again. This is something you just have to do. So, and math, thankfully, is once you learn it, then you're going to keep it with you, okay? So here are the steps. Particularly, we know how to do all these steps except for this second one, step 2. Okay, if a is not equal to 1, divide all terms by a. Okay, so we need to know how to do that before we could move on. All right, so here we go. Number 1, solve by completing the square. So we got 6p squared minus 12p minus 90 is equal to 0. So just like before, we need to move c over. C is negative 90, so we want to do the opposite of minus c. We're going to add c to both sides. When we do that, we have 6p squared minus 12p is equal to 90. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we notice that a is equal to 6, right? We don't want a equal to 6, we want it equal to 1. So how do we make anything equal to 1? We divide it by itself, right? What's 2 divided by 2?
1.
What's 3 divided by 3?
1.
What's 6 divided by 6? 1. So we want a to be 1. So how do we make it equal to 1? We divide it by 6 in this case. So we divide each of these terms on the left by 6 and the right by 6. Okay, 6p squared divided by 6 is just p squared. Then we got negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2p. And then we got 90 divided by 6 is 15. Okay? Then we could complete the square. A is equal to 1 now, right? So we take half of negative 2. We're going to do a little side problem. We're going to put negative 2 on the side, divided by 2, and then square it. Okay? So what's negative 2 divided by 2? Negative 1, right? Negative 1 squared is positive 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides here. When we do that, we get p minus 1 squared is equal to 16. Then we're going to take the square root of both sides. Square root cancels with the square, leaving p minus 1. The right side, square root of 16, how many answers are there? 2 answers. What's the square root of 16? Positive 4 and negative 4, right? Then we're going to add 1 to both sides. So p is equal to 1 plus or minus 4. What's 1 plus 4?
5.
Good. What's 1 minus 4? Negative 3. Here are your 2 answers. Okay? So what's different about this problem? Well, one thing that's different is that we have this special step right here. I'm going to put a star by it. Okay? Or we have to divide everything by a. Was that a harder extra step? No, it's pretty easy, right? Watch me do number 2 now. Number 2 is going to be a little bit trickier because we're going to have to deal with a fraction, but we'll still get through it. Okay, so we got 4a squared plus 16a plus 11. We're going to subtract 11 on both sides. When we do that, we got 4a squared plus 16a is equal to negative 11. Okay, a is equal to 4. How do I get a equal to 1? I divide by 4 this time, right? We're not going to divide by 6 again. We're going to divide by 4. So 4 divided by 4 cancels out. We just leave a squared. 16a divided by 4 is positive 4a. And then we got negative 11 divided by 4, which is just a negative 11 over 4, right? You following me so far? Now we need to take half of b, which is, in this case, it's 4. Half of 4 is 2. So, sorry, half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is equal to 4, right? So, we're going to add 4 to both sides. When we do that, we have to add a fraction here. It's going to be really like us saying negative 11 over 4 plus 16 over 4. Right? Right? You following me so far? 4 times 4 is 4. Or 4 times 4 is 16 right here, right? Okay, so what's negative 11 plus 16? Positive 5 over 4. Okay, this left side is now a perfect square trinomial. You got a plus 2, all squared. We're going to take the square root of both sides. Got a plus 2. Left on the left side. On the right side we have two answers, positive and negative. What's the square root of 5? Do we know what the square root of 5 is? No, we're going to leave it like that. Square root of 5. And then what's the square root of 4 in the denominator? 2, right? So we have a denominator of 2. Then we're going to subtract 2 on both sides, just like we did on the first problem. So we got a is equal to negative 2 plus or minus rad 5 over 2. Okay? And that's it. That's an acceptable answer to me. What's a denominator under 2? Let's take it one more step actually. 1, right? What's a good common denominator to use for both of these fractions? 2, right? So what would I multiply this first fraction with to get 2 in the denominator? 2, right? So this is also like saying a is equal to negative 4 over 2 plus or minus rad 5 over 2. And when you're at that point, you can combine them. So let's get to do this last step. A is equal to negative 4 plus or minus rad 5 all over 2. Okay, that's it. So the second one's a little bit harder. Still the same concept. Any questions on numbers 1 or 2? No? Okay. So I'd like you to do right now, turn your neighbor. 1 cell 2 is about number 1. 2 cell 1's about number 2. Ready, set, go. Here we go, number 3. Okay, let's do this one together. First step, what are we supposed to do, everyone? Okay, what's our constant here that we need to move? 30. What's the opposite of negative 30?
Positive 30.
Okay, so we got 10x squared plus 20x is equal to 0 plus 30 is 30. Okay, now, is a equal to 1? No. How do we get a equal to 1? Divide by 10, right? So we're going to divide both sides by 10. Okay, what's 10x squared divided by 10? Good. What is 20x divided by 10? 2x. Good. Leave a little space. What's 30 divided by 10?
3.
Good. Okay. B. What's half of B? 1. 1 squared is? 1. We're going to add 1 to both sides. So left side becomes what? What's the left side become? Remember, this is a perfect square trinomial. Just like last week, what do we need to do with this? To bring it down, we're supposed to do something here. Okay, what's the square root of x squared, everyone? Good. What's half of 2? 1, positive 1. So we're just going to bring down x plus 1 down here. Remember that? That's not a new trick. That's an old one. What's 3 plus 1? Good. Okay. What should we do next? Take a square root of both sides, right? So x plus 1 is equal to what? Plus or minus 2. Make sense? Yep. Okay. Are we done?
Nope.
No. What do we need to do now?
Subtract 1 to both sides.
Subtract 1 from both sides. So we got negative 1 plus or minus 2. What's negative 1 plus 2?
3. Oh,
Negative 3.
no, negative 1.
Nope. Negative 1 plus 2.
Oh.
That's positive.
Positive 1. What's negative 1 minus 2?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. There you go. These are your two answers. Was that hard? No, number 4. This one's like number 3. I want you to do this one by yourself. And then I will work it out for you to show you. See if you got it right. Ready, set, go. Okay, first step on this one. We got 96. Add 96. got 4m squared minus 8m is equal to 96. A is equal to 4, therefore we have to divide everything on the left side and right side by 4. So we got m squared minus 2m is equal to 24. We're going to take half of negative 2, which is 1. Negative 1 squared, we're going to add 1 to both sides. When we do that, we get m minus 1 all squared equals 25. Take the square root of both sides. Get m minus 1 is equal to positive and negative 5. Add 1 to both sides. Got m is equal to 1 plus or minus 5. 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. 1 minus 5 is equal to negative 4. So 7 and 3 is incorrect. Raise your hand if you got it correct. Good, okay. Excellent. So that was an easy one. Now we're going to do a couple of them that are like number 2 that are a little bit more difficult. Okay, so let's do the next one. Please write the next one down for me. Number 2. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is the following. We're going to work it out like we normally would. So what's C? What? Negative 74. So what's the opposite of minus 74? And we're going to add 74 to both sides, right? So we got 2n squared plus 4n is equal to 74. Okay. What's A equal to here? 2, right? So we have to divide both sides by 2. What's 2n squared divided by 2? N squared, right? What's 4n divided by 2? Positive 2n, right? What's 74 divided by 2? 37, right? Okay. Now what's half of 2? 1 squared. What? Add 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. Okay. Left side becomes what? What? Left side. Okay, good. Want to take the square root of both sides. So we got n plus 1 is equal to square root of 38. And there's 2 answers, right? Positive and negative 38. Is there a square root of 38? No, it's irrational, right? So now we need to do one more step. We're almost there. Is n... Okay, subtract the 1. So you got n is equal to negative 1 plus or minus rad 38. Can we do anything else with this problem? Can I combine the 1 and the rad 38? No, because it's irrational, right? So we're done. Okay? So sometimes you got radical ones like that. Number 6, I want you to try that out. Let's see how you do. See how far you get. Some of you will make it all the way to the end. This one is like number 2 for sure. Okay, ready, set. Okay, so on this one, last one, you're going to add 46 to both sides. This one's got a little bit of extra advanced elements in it, but we could do it. Raise your hand if you did that first step correctly. Okay, good. All right. When in doubt, always start with that. Okay, and then second step, we need to divide both sides by 10. So we got x squared plus or minus 2x. 46 over 10. I could simplify this as 23 over 5. Raise your hand if you did the second step correctly.
I didn't
Okay, good. Raise your hand if you did the second step correctly, but you didn't simplify. Like you just left it as 46 over 10. That's fine. That's okay. Okay, so we're going to take half of -2, -2. Let's just pretend we didn't simplify, okay? Let's just go keep it as 46 over 10. It doesn't matter because these are equivalent fractions, okay? So I'm going to leave it as 46 over 10. Raise your hand if yours looks like this right now. Okay, so we're going to take half of -2 divided by 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. -1 squared is +1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 over here. This is like saying 1 over 1, right? But we don't want 1 over 1. We need to add the fractions with the common denominator. So 46 over 10. We're going to add 10 over 10, right? Because we need to convert 1 over 1 as 10 over 10, right? 46 plus 10 is 56 over 10. Left side is x plus x minus 2 squared. Raise your hand if you did this part correctly. Okay. Take the square root of both sides. Now it gets a little tricky. Okay, so we got x minus 2 is equal to rad 56 over rad 10. And we have a plus or minus sign there. Then we're going to add 2 to both sides. X is equal to 2 plus or minus rad 56. Oop. Over rad 10. We want a common denominator, so we want rad 10. So we're going to multiply this first one, 2 rad 10 plus or minus rad 56 all over rad 10. This is an okay answer for now. This is an advanced problem, so I'm going to leave it like that. But we just want to make sure we have the right idea. Okay? That's it. Any questions? We'll be working on this a little bit more tomorrow, so if you have any questions, let me know. And that concludes the lesson.